Praise be to Jesus and Mary. You're listening to Returning to Catholic Roots in a New Age World, a podcast hosted by Holly and Mandy. Let's begin our show. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our podcast, Returning to Catholic Roots in a New Age World. My name is Holly, and as always, I'm joined here by my mother, Mandy, and we are happy to be back again for another episode here on the Catholic Family Podcast. We'll begin by saying, Jesus, meek and humble of heart, make our hearts like unto thine. So, happy Thursday. I guess when you're listening to this, it'll be Thursday now, and
Well, okay.
Waiting for my mom to chime in with something.
I had some things I wanted to talk
I thought
about.
maybe I was just doing the podcast by myself today.
I know, because
we're staring off into the blank.
Well, we didn't discuss anything. Like, I had no idea.
Ever?
And there was so much going on, and I got to tell you, there was a lot going on. And we had, All Saints parties and All Souls days and masses and cemeteries and all sorts of stuff going on. And I did want to talk about that briefly.
Mm-hmm.
Matt Walsh came out with a video about Halloween, and I kind of wanted to talk about that. And then, the election happened last night.
Yeah.
And now everything seems like nothing matters. I don't know what happened here. Like, it just feels like nothing matters. Like, oh, Halloween, was that 100 years ago? I don't know. We had an election. I mean, we didn't have an election, but it didn't stop my brother from staying up all night watching it, waiting to get the results. Anyway, I guess congratulations, Americans. I mean, you certainly didn't want, what's her face?
Yeah.
What's her
face?
I mean, that didn't even seem legit. I couldn't even imagine it. I mean, I have my personal views about it all, which we won't.
As do I.
We're not here to discuss.
We're not
that.
here. We're not going to go political here. Because
but I will
say,
forte. Like, I can't even say her name.
Kamala.
I
don't know. Is that right?
I think it's
one
Kamala.
of those two. Kamala.
Kamala Harris.
Yeah, that's it.
Kamala. Yeah. Yeah, she's a joke. So I guess we could say we're happy.
She's your version of Justin Trudeau. That's the only thing I will say.
And thank goodness it's not her. So we'll go with that. But anyway, I think maybe, even though it seems like everything's irrelevant now, maybe I just do want to go back and touch on Halloween. Just a tiny bit.
Okay, go for it.
We had, I'm trying to remember what Matt Walsh put out a video about the truck or treat and how it's ruining.
Trunk. Not truck.
Trunk or treat, right?
And how it's
a friend of ours,
Halloween.
They had one in the States at their parish, and I thought, oh my gosh, that's
so
nice. Cool. I love it.
So nice.
Let me sign up right here and now.
I wanted to decorate my trunk, even if it was just me outside in the parking lot by myself.
Yeah, I wanted to decorate a trunk. I was like all in. But anyway, it was nice here. We had an All Saints Day on Sunday, which we had a little potluck, and kids did all their saints, and they were amazing. And then we had the sisters did something at the school
on All Hallows Eve.
On All Hallows Eve,
little bonfire and games and activities for the kids.
Yeah, and that was really nice, and they had a good time. But I wanted to touch back on, because I mean, as a general rule, there is a real satanic element to Halloween, right?
Yeah.
And that's true.
Yeah.
And as Catholics, we don't want to, party in that.
No.
Like, we don't want to party in that. Partake in that element of that. But Matt Walsh he had a huge complaint. And I was listening to it with interest. He had a complaint against trunk or treat.
Mm-hmm.
He said that it was stupid.
Yeah.
And that, that they have sucked literally all the fun out of Halloween.
Right.
And he's right. And I thought, well, you're totally right about that.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I went back and it's not just trunk or treat that sucked all the fun out of it.
Right.
But he said, you dress up, you go around to some safe cars, and, you're all done half an hour, done and gone, right? So I'm old enough to remember trick-or-treating when it was like real legit. It was like, and I think when I became a traditional Catholic, I had a hard time letting go of it. And when you have a hard time letting go of something, it's because it has the fondest of memories for you.
Right.
Right. And like Matt Walsh was like kind of mentioning these his fond memories of his youth with it. We would run home from school, like, and it's a time when everything was so much freer.
Right.
Right. And we would run in, we'd get our costumes on. And of course my mother worked, so she wasn't there waiting to take us around trick or treating.
Yeah.
Right. And I had a younger brother that we kind of sort of looked after, but my brothers would go with their friends. I would go, like, we'd just go. Like, I mean, obviously when we were little kids, I'm sure my mother took us around. But generally speaking, we were trick-or-treating on our own.
Right.
Kind of thing. And it was so much fun. It was, you had your costume. And I don't actually ever remember devil costumes or stuff like that.
No.
Like, you were always, generally speaking, a bum was a good one.
A bum.
Like, because you took your old clothes. Like, you just kind of took your stuff from home. And
well, that's funny. That's exactly what Grandma told me when we were driving to choir last week and we were talking about it. And she said, you didn't ever just go get a costume.
Mm-hmm.
Like this going to buy a costume thing.
Yeah.
She's like, no, we went home and you went into the closet and you just grabbed some old clothes and created. You were a bum. Like you were a hobo, she said,
You created your costume. And then we would go out and it would be so much fun. You're running door to door and you're just running. Like it wasn't about the
but
okay, we have a dog
in here. Keep talking. I'll get rid of the dog.
It wasn't about the ghosts and goblins. It wasn't about that, like in my youth.
Yeah.
And then we'd come home and we'd be so exhausted. The night air on our faces, we'd be rosy and the makeup be, running down our eyes.
Yeah.
And we'd come into the living room and my brothers would be there and we'd dump these suitcases full of candy on the middle of the floor and it'd be like, oh. Wow. And then we'd sort it, and then we'd put it, then we'd sort it this way, then we'd sort it that way, then we'd exchange each other. And, it was just like, it was about the candy.
Right. I can still remember the very first time. I remember the very first time we got a full-size chocolate bar.
Yeah.
Because we had to trick-or-treat in the country.
Yeah.
And I remember this year, like it was yesterday. All the kids at our little country school, most of them lived in Belmont, which is in town.
Right.
And they were all like, talking about where they were going trick-or-treating, this subdivision, that subdivision, that subdivision. And I went home and I remember saying to you, why can't we never just like go just right to Belmont? Why do we always have to go all around out in the country? And I remember you saying to me, that's where all the good candy is.
Yeah.
Like not in the subdivisions. You're going to go and you're going to get a little package of Smarties, And then I remember, and it was that year we went down, I still remember the house it was.
Yeah.
And Fournier, and that was their name. Not that that's relevant to anybody, and I remember the lady opened the door and she gave us a full-size chocolate bar. And I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like you felt like you hit the jackpot.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, and we had that. But I think there was a couple of things that Matt Walsh, I understand the pain of something that was really good and innocent.
Mm-hmm.
It was good and innocent.
Mm-hmm.
That got corrupted basically by, the demons, first of all.
Yeah.
It got corrupted by the evils and the demons. But then it got corrupted by New Age.
Right.
Right. And now
I would say not just New Age, more specifically too, it's been corrupted by overconsumption.
Overconsumption, by entitlement
and overconsumption. Because I'm going to tell you, it was my sister that said it about her kid.
Yeah.
That he couldn't give a fig about trick-or-treating because he just knows he gets candy whenever.
Yes, the kids
they get too much candy whenever they want.
Too much stuff all the time.
So them getting a full-size chocolate bar, it wouldn't be the same thing as it was to me.
Right.
Back then. That wouldn't have been like, a full-size chocolate bar. They'd just be like, oh.
Like we didn't, we didn't, money was tighter. Things were tighter. You didn't go to the store and your mother come out with a candy for you
every time.
No, ever.
No, that's what I mean. But I'm saying now it's like, oh,
for
you
you
want
to
a
get
candy?
a candy at the store, your grandpa would have to come in and give you a quarter or something.
Something, yeah.
Or a dime. Like that's what they would. I mean, in my generation, that's what they gave you, quarters and dimes. Oh, I got a dime. I'm going to the store. My grandfather had pockets full of humbugs. How about that? You know what a humbug is?
No.
It's an English toffee. It's an English hard candy, right? But he would come and he would he'd push his hand, and it was gross. You'd pull out all the lid because I mean this is going back to the day too. Like candies weren't so individually wrapped.
Yeah.
Right. They didn't do stuff like that.
Well, you don't even have to go back that far, Mom.
Yeah.
I remember when me and my siblings were kids biking down to the 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
And spending a toonie.
Right.
And I say that, spending a toonie, like you had $100 in your pocket.
Oh, we did. You did.
You
did when you had a
could
toonie.
Go and you could get the penny candies.
Which used to be a $2 bill.
Right.
Not a toonie.
A toonie. We call it $2. And you could go and you could get a little brown paper bag.
Yeah.
And you could pick all the penny candies. And that toonie, you'd stretch that toonie so far to get all those penny candies, and you'd fill that bag.
Yeah.
And you walked out of there like, I don't even know if you could get anything for a toonie at a variety store anymore.
Right. Well, no, I don't think you could. Not here in Canada.
Not here in Canada.
Well,
candy's like $4.
When we
for a little.
When I was little, my brothers and I took $2 out of my mother's purse and went to the variety store. And I mean, we were very little. Like we were not. And here we are. With this $2 bill, and we truck her down to the variety store. And again, this is not close.
Yeah.
And we're little kids. First of all, nobody lets their little kids travel around like this. That's one thing.
Yeah.
The other thing is that, and we went down there, and of course they called my mother. We live in a small. I mean, kids don't have $2
bills
to go. And you know what that got? 2 brown paper bags full of chips and candies and chocolate bars. $2. 2 brown paper bags.
Well, that would be equivalent today. What would you say? A kid going down there with a $50 bill?
Oh, at least.
At least,
yeah. More than that, because we got everything's a penny.
Yeah.
Everything's a penny a nickel. Just think about it, right?
Yeah.
And so here we are, back to our Halloween problem, right?
Yeah.
The kids, and the other thing too, if you noticed in their trick-or-treat bag, everything's the same.
Yeah.
The candies are the same.
Yeah.
Everything's the same. There's not a lot of variety.
No.
It's not a lot of variety. So, you can go to the grocery, you can go to Walmart and buy a giant bag of Nestle's chocolate bars and throw them in the middle of the floor for the kids, and a bag of potato chips in there, you're done. It's the same thing, right? Yeah. So I think, personally, I think we got to let go. Or maybe the young people aren't hanging on to it, like, let go of it. I mean, even people
it's not worth it anyway.
It's not worth it. It's not the same. And traditions change. They just change.
And you'll never get that back.
You'll never
be able to bring that back.
It's like when the innocence is removed. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, they say that about everything. Like when you steal the innocence of a child, it's gone for good.
It's gone for good, yeah.
You don't get it back. Yeah. And this is kind of the same thing. Right. So, I mean, I feel like, the thing at the school with the sisters was really good. Mm-hmm. Right? And as your sister pointed out, they like the little treats, the little tchotchkes.
Yeah, the pencils and the erasers.
Pencils and the stuff like that. And so, I'm making little goodie bags with less candy and more useless tchotchkes. little rubber.
What we consider useless, the kids think is a gold mine.
But it's funny, like, that we've just come here to this.
Yeah.
It's just the world is changing, and I mean, part of that is, the biggest part of it is it's no longer a Christian society.
Right.
Kids do not get to run the streets.
Right.
Parents are deathly afraid for their children. That's why they're doing trunk or treat.
Yeah, yeah.
They want them to do this Halloween, but they want it to be in a safe, controlled environment.
Right.
You know, and the other problem too, I'm going to tell you, especially in Canada, is the immigrants.
Yeah.
You know, like they don't do trick or treat.
Treating.
They don't have our traditions and our celebrations, right?
No.
So now everything, like, I mean, Diwali. Can we talk about Diwali? I don't even know what Diwali is, if you want to know.
No, and you know your country is overrun when you go to a store called HomeSense.
Yeah.
Which is similar, I would say, comparable to your guys' Home Goods. If you're American, it's comparable to Home Goods.
Yeah.
So you go to HomeSense, and there's an entire section of Diwali decor.
Right.
Decor.
Right.
And I don't mean like just disposable. I mean like wood letters, like that are Diwali. I don't know what it means. I don't know what any of it means, but it was with a giant sign that said Diwali decor.
Yeah.
In my little small, I mean, I say London, it's small, but it's like, it's not.
It's 500,000.
It's in comparison to Toronto. It's
right.
not Toronto is what I'm getting at.
Right. It's not Toronto.
But the fact that we have a Diwali section in our home decor store, you never would have seen that, not even a year ago.
Well, I'll tell you another thing that's changed too for us because of immigration is we used to have very strong firecracker rules.
Yeah.
We only were allowed, it was either 2 or 3 times a year. I know Queen Victoria's birthday, Canada Day. I don't know if there's another one, but those 2 were the firecracker days. Those were the only times you were allowed to light off a firework. You're allowed to light off fireworks. Except for now,
they have to let them light them off on Diwali or whatever.
Those rules are gone too because they light them off for all their holidays.
Yeah.
So, if you've seen any videos, it's pretty massive here in Canada. Like the takeover is...
It's massive.
It's massive. Like they're in the streets lighting fireworks off. And they've taken... Now you go down the streets and they're selling them all the time. Our rules are changing to fit a non-Christian society. Yeah. And back in the day when we were doing trick-or-treating, every house did trick-or-treating. Like you had that one weirdo house.
That the lights were off.
That the lights were off.
There's the weird house.
But it was a community thing. And the communities don't exist anymore.
No.
Right? I mean, they're full of houses. You know, you have to go like, you know, oh, here's a house. Oh, 3 more houses. Here's a house. You know, like it's not even things that people participate in anymore.
Right. So everything is different. Everything has changed. And I think the whole thing is that we have to create our new Catholic.
Yeah.
Well, not new. It's nothing new under the sun. You know,
it's old.
It's old. We just got to bring it back.
I think it's a golden opportunity.
Right.
It's a golden opportunity to let it go. Let it go. It's done. It's over. We can't. I mean, in Canada, we can't bring it back. I mean, the community doesn't exist
to bring it back.
You know, this diversity is our greatest strength. No, what's it?
I don't know.
Diversity. I can't remember, but whatever. It's separating us pretty bad.
Yeah.
You know. So anyway, and I'm sure you guys in the United States, you can feel the separation.
Yeah.
You just had an election. Anyway, all the best to everybody, and next year maybe we'll do a trunk or treat. I don't know.
I want to decorate the back of my car.
But
I like altars and saint displays. I thought it was really cool.
I think it's a golden opportunity to say, okay, those traditions are done. Let's make our own in our own community. Yeah. Especially if you're lucky enough we are blessed enough to have a community.
Yeah.
So we need to utilize that.
Yeah.
To the best possible thing.
Yeah. So I guess if there's nothing else, then we'll dive into our book here.
Well, I am getting ready for Christmas.
Oh, okay.
I know you. I have. So I just wanted to say this because I've decided to do a lot of things. You're laughing at me.
Well, what?
How random?
Yeah. Anyways, continue on. I am getting ready for Christmas. Okay.
Well, I've decided to do a little bit more. to do a little bit more. So I can't
wait to hear where this is going.
I can't do it if I wait till I'm making some stuff to go inside some Christmas cards.
Okay.
that I'm going to give out to people.
Okay.
And so I got to get I'm putting it together. I'm getting it all together. You may, if you, I got to get some
if
addresses.
You're on my special list.
If you're on my,
hey,
I
already decided I'm sending out Christmas cards this year.
Yeah, I want to, I want to go back to.
If anybody wants to be on my list,
but I
can't.
I have to do it now. Like it takes so much work and so much time.
Yeah.
And I'm making things too, so I have to.
Well, so on that note, then I've decided that this is going to be a handmade Christmas.
Right.
Speaking of overconsumption and
yes.
having what do people in my life need? Nothing.
Yeah.
There's nobody in my life that needs anything.
Right.
Really,
no,
when I think about it.
No.
So I decided that this year is going to be a handmade Christmas. All my sisters, they're getting handmade gifts. Mm-hmm. All my sisters, there's only 2 of them. They're getting handmade gifts, something that actually means something. My sister and I, we were in Michigan yesterday, and she gave me an idea of a gift of what to make for her.
Oh, did she?
And I can say it here because she's never listened to the podcast anyway.
Yeah,
so
they don't like
they don't like us. No. Well, they see us in person. They're like, I ain't gonna listen to you. Anyways, we're in Big Lots, which I'm just gonna. Speaking of overconsumption, this kind of goes against everything we just said, but I have to say it because I feel like you Americans, and I got to say this, and shoot me down if you want. You don't appreciate what you have if you're not shopping at Big Lots. I was just like, what is this place? Like, and for us, it's like, okay, something was $6.99, but you got to understand, for me, that's actually not $6.99.
Yeah, it's like more like $10.
It's more like $10, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, well, I'll tell you, I spent $38, and my sister has this special credit card that gives her rebate on I don't know. Anyway, she was explaining it. But so she said, put it on my credit card and then pay me back, and I'll tell you how much you owe me. It came to $38 at Big Lots, and I had to give her $53.
Wow.
Okay, so think about that. So, but for you guys, it's your money.
Yeah.
So that's $6.99 for you. But anyways, my whole point of it was I just love that store, and I wish we had a Big Lots. That's my whole point. But there was this big Joy to the World. I think it said Joy to the World. I took a picture of it anyways, and we came around the corner, and she was like, "Wow, I love that." And I was like, "Oh, I could totally make that."
Yeah.
And then I was like, "I'm gonna make that for her." Like I knew, and it was just her face lit up when she saw it. She really loved it. It was totally her style. So anyway, so that's my whole point. It's like I'm going for a handmade Christmas this year, and plus too, I feel like that was I'm not going to use the word a special moment that we had, but we were both oohing and awing over this thing, right? And I feel like if I make that for her, it's going to remind her of that.
Right.
And it just makes it very special, rather than, what did I get you, a hairdryer or something? I
mean, we do have to think about how to make things special.
And that's how you make them special again,
In an over
exuberant world where everything is just at our fingertips.
It's just, nobody is too poor for a chocolate bar.
No.
Like it's so much. Even though, and I do have to say, like, even though the cost of our food here is ridiculous, and I know people are struggling to make ends meet. Yeah. Even with all of that, it's still too much.
Yeah.
Like, we still have
too
much. Like, if people were thrifty, they should never have to buy anything because they can pick it up off the side of the road. Mm-hmm. Because everybody has so much they throw it out.
There's just stuff getting thrown out left, right, and center.
Yeah. So I mean, back, what's that? The Little Women.
Yeah.
They have a little Christmas. Mm-hmm. They give each other presents.
Yeah.
And the nice piece of lace.
Yeah. Here, I got you this nice.
nice piece of lace. Yeah. I mean, my heart.
Piece of lace.
My heart goes back to a time where I would love
to get a piece of lace.
To get a piece of lace that somebody would say, "Here, I thought of you. Here's this, piece of lace."
Yeah.
And you would go, "Wow, a piece of lace."
Well, think about how
or ribbon
grateful
or whatever it was.
People were back then.
Yeah.
And now, we have people where there's this one lady that I follow on Instagram, a thrifter, And she goes into the thrift stores and she puts together little gifts. Like she's like, come into the thrift store for me. We're going to put together a birthday gift for so-and-so. And she goes to the thrift store and she finds things that complement each other and she puts them in a nice basket right in the thrift store and shows you how to do that. The comments on these videos are disgusting.
What they say, that's gross.
They're like, ew, gross.
Yeah.
And one comment's like, if you gave that to me, I'd throw it back in your face. Like, I'm not lying. This is what people say.
Wow.
If you can't go and buy somebody an appropriate gift, then don't go to the event. Like, these are some of the comments on here.
Wow.
Just because it's from a thrift store.
Yeah.
I'm like, I spend the majority of my life in a thrift store.
Well, I have my problem with the thrift stores. It's too expensive.
Too much. I'm like, oh, that's so. I just see potential everywhere.
I'm like, how is it this much in a thrift store when it, you can the dollar, like there's so many places that it's way cheaper.
Wait, no, I know, but it's still, to me, it's just the point. It's like, this is how snobbish people have become.
Yes, and entitled.
And
entitled. It's entitled. Like, I don't think that even as much as we say to ourselves, try to make ourselves unentitled, we can escape the fact that we are very, very entitled.
Yeah.
And that we have to think about that in our head, like, how entitled am I actually?
Right.
What are my demands that I have to have?
Well, and it's like, and I mean, that's the thing about the book that we're going to get into here in a minute, if we ever get to it. But the manners and the whole thing that, that I truly believe that the sense of entitlement has made it so that manners are non-existent.
Right.
That your entitlement comes before charity and kindness and what's right.
Yeah, well, you don't have to put up with that.
Because you don't have to put up with that. How could you expect somebody to give you somebody else's junk?
Like, you deserve more than that.
You deserve more than that? That's what that person thinks of you?
I mean,
when I see that, I see a woman that goes into the thrift store and has a great eye for things.
Yeah.
And can pull together garbage and make it look good.
All those sayings, though, do speak to the level of your entitlement.
Yeah.
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 So, I mean, if I had to say to anybody, to think about anything, to just try to reflect, say, where am I on the entitlement meter?
Yeah.
Or we could, another term, the white picket fence meter.
Yeah.
What are you owed? What are you owed?
Yeah. And also, let's make it a Holly Handmade Christmas. That's what I'm calling it.
Yes, and if you want any good ideas, go to
my blog. I'm not trying to push my blog, but I'm going to be coming out with a great video. That's all I'm going to say.
She did break the internet.
So I did break the internet.
This is a
break the internet for me. Let's not get too excited.
Well, that video had 100,000 views before the end of Christmas.
Well, and the one that I'm coming out with, the one I'm going to show where I'm making all my gifts, that one's going to probably be more up anyone who listens to this podcast alley.
Yeah.
About how to make gifts and stuff like that. It's just watching someone be creative. I just love that and see what they put together. And the other thing is I meant to say this, I'm going to say this very quickly. When we were in the Dollar Tree, I wanted to go to this Dollar Tree in the States so bad because I watch all these Dollar Tree videos on YouTube. And you guys in the States, you get stuff that we don't get.
Right. So
we go into the Dollar Tree, and my sister, she's not a big dollar store person.
Yeah.
And she's like, what's so great about this? And of course, and I'm picking up everything. I have a problem with if something, and let's just be real, a lot of things around Christmas say my name on them.
How coincidental.
How coincidental. And so I'm picking up everything that says Holly on it. Oh, this says Holly on it. Oh, this says Holly on it. Oh, this says Holly on it. And my sister Mariah, she's like, oh, geez, it's almost like your name was meant for Christmas. And I was just like...
She's so funny.
I said, okay, I can't help it. She's like, do you have to have everything that says Holly on it? I bought one bag that said, have a Holly Jolly Christmas, okay? I was just picking everything up and looking at it. Yeah. I really, maintained myself. But it was just funny. Anyway, so that's why I'm calling it a Holly handmade Christmas.
A Holly handmade Christmas. Well, that's awesome.
I think I'm going to say that in my video. Anyways, let's get into manners here.
Yeah.
Speaking of. Okay, so when we left off, we're going into manners at telephone, and I'm interested to see if a lot of this will apply because now everybody has a cell phone. So it'll be interesting to see. This is written from a book at the time where cell phones were not even a thought.
Not everybody has a cell phone.
Oh, okay. My mom doesn't have a cell phone. Sorry, let me put that out there. She's very proud of that. My mom
she's
does
trying
not
really hard to maintain it. I almost got one recently.
Really?
A flip one. I had decided I'm going to get a cell phone.
Oh, did you?
Because with this running around at airports.
Oh,
and
yeah,
stuff.
my brother, yeah. It's going across country all the time.
Yeah.
Okay, and my mom is his drop-off person. All right, so let's go into here. Handbook of Good Manners by the Mother House of the Sisters of Charity, Manners at the Telephone. Quote, a well-known corporation cities. Oh, sorry. Let me start again. That does not say cities.
You need
Quote,
glasses?
I might need glasses here. Quote, a well-known corporation cites the following as requisites for the correct and efficient use of the telephone. Pick up the receiver at the first ring. Identify yourself. For sisters, this means to mention the name of your convent school or institution. Speak directly into the mouthpiece with your lips not more than an inch away. Speak clearly and with sufficient force to send the voice along the wire. End quote. Okay, I'm going to first off say that this is probably, first of all, they probably had to say that because the telephone lines weren't as developed as they are now.
Right.
So you probably did have to speak with sufficient force to send your voice through that wire. They wouldn't have written that.
Yeah.
But that's very precise.
Yes.
To speak into the mouthpiece with your lips not more than an inch away.
Well, I mean, you know what it's like if somebody's got their mouth over it, or they're too far away, or it's too hollow. Like, again, all these manners is just about making life better for the other person.
Right. Okay, quote, do not speak fast nor in a very loud voice. Again, bring our voices down. Okay, quote, terminate your call by saying goodbye. Wait for the caller to say goodbye. Replace the receiver quietly. End quote. Yeah, don't slam. Remember, who gets to hang their phone up anymore?
Yeah, who gets to slam it down?
I saw a meme about that. It's like something along the lines of like, who misses getting in a heated conversation and being able to slam the telephone down to hang up on somebody?
I'm not talking to you anymore. Slam.
We don't get to do that with cell phones.
Well, we don't get to do that because we're Catholic.
Well, okay, yes. I know.
So if we're doing that, we need to readjust our thinking. Okay, I mean, I may have done that a few times in my life.
Yep. Okay, quote, other directives. Speak in a pleasant tone of voice. Be careful at all times to avoid abruptness. Avoid saying hello. Identification of the speaker renders the use of this expression unnecessary. End quote.
What?
Okay, I don't understand that.
So who doesn't say hello? The person who answers or the person who's talking?
So what are you supposed to do? Pick up the phone and say nothing?
No. Okay, so somebody calls, ding, ding, ding. You pick up the phone, you go, hello.
Hello.
And I say, hello. They're saying, don't do that.
Oh, so you don't say hello.
No, so you say hello, and I say,
this is Sister so-and-so?
I don't need to say hello. I feel like I can't make myself not do that. Hello, hi. What would I say? Okay, I don't even know.
Well, it does say identification of the speaker renders the use of this expression unnecessary. Identification of the speaker. I don't get that. They totally lost me on that one. That's the first time in this book I've been lost.
So, I mean, you would call, see, back in the day, if I call your phone, I know I'm calling you and you're going to pick up. If a weird person answers the phone, and that's happened the odd time.
Yeah.
Somebody else is answering, and I'm like, and you get all like, what the heck is going on? I've dialed the wrong number, and, you get all flustered.
Yeah.
But in the old days, you didn't know who was going to answer the phone.
That's right.
You rang, and it could be anybody picking up on the other end.
Mm.
So, I mean, you say hello, hi. I would say hello, hi. This is Mandy.
Yeah.
Or I always feel like you need to identify yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, in our house, we have been told we all sound the same.
Oh, my grandma, she can't tell the difference between me or Heather
Yeah, and
or
people
Ronnie, my
can't,
sisters.
and
She
people
can't.
can't. I know they can't tell the difference between me and my mother.
Mm-hmm.
And I've heard between me and you guys too, you and
Mm-hmm.
these girls, like that. We all sound the same. I don't hear it when I'm talking to you. I don't hear it if it's played back that we sound the same. But on the phone, apparently,
We all sound the
we
same.
all sound the same. So people don't know who they're talking to. So I think out of
Yeah.
courtesy, you should always be clear as to let the person know who they're talking to. I mean, if
Right.
you're dialing a phone,
I
if
mean,
you're
because
dialing a cell phone,
one day I might call you up and say, "Man, Mom, can you believe what Holly did the other day?" And try to pretend to be Heather and see what you say. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do that.
okay.
I'm not. But it is funny because my sister, her mother-in-law, because I do the YouTube videos and stuff like that, and she follows me and watches me, and she will say that she closes her eyes and
Yeah.
she hears Heather, not
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
And I don't hear it.
No, I don't
Like
either.
when I hear my sisters talk, I don't hear, even hearing them on video or anything like that.
Yeah.
You don't see yourself the way other people see you ever. It's
Yeah.
impossible. I don't think you can, but apparently we do. So, okay. It is, quote, "It is not courteous to say, wait a minute, go ahead, all right. Say instead, just one moment, please. Your connection is made. Sister is at the phone now." End quote.
So what they're asking you is to be more formal.
Be more formal, yeah.
You don't go, wait a minute.
Wait a
Just
minute.
a sec.
Just a sec.
Yeah,
that's, yeah. Just
I mean, and
one moment,
that's, I mean, that
please.
is part of our uncultured society.
That we say, how often do people say just a sec?
Just a sec. Yeah.
They short form that all the time. They don't even say just a second, please.
Well, how would they think about how we short form like PPL? People.
What's
texting.
People? Oh, in texting, you mean?
like,
I was going to say, who says PPL?
No, but what do we do say LOL?
LOL, PP, yeah, people is short formed all the time.
I always short form people. Like it's like oh yeah. I don't know why. Even when I'm writing something, I try not to short form things. I try not to do that.
I'm going to tell you. You know what really bothers me is I do not like the short abbreviations of everything.
Yeah.
Like when you're reading something on social media or online, and it's like OTLPL.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, now I gotta go to Google and look up what that means, because I don't. Actually, it's funny because my daughter especially, she's a teenager, and she jokes with me all the time. "Oh, Mom, you're so old." And I'm not that old. But even these new things and my daughter's not on social media, so I don't know how she knows all this stuff, but I guess they must talk about it in school. I don't know.
Because I don't know of any kids in school that
no, I know, but like there's all these short forms now for everything.
Yeah.
And I don't know what any of them mean. LOL, yes.
Yeah. PPL, yes.
PPL, I know that. But like there's so many of them. And it's like when you come up with so many of these stupid abbreviations for things, how is it physically possible that everybody knows them all?
So what we're doing now is we all talk in shorthand. I mean, when I was in high school, I took shorthand.
Yeah.
Because it's obsolete now.
I mean, I'll never forget my job when I first got that job at Dipley, the social media company, and everybody was putting on email, and I didn't know this because I hadn't been part of this world.
Yeah.
Everybody was putting on emails, TLDR. Every time.
Something later?
No, and I was like, oh, I didn't want to ask anybody what it meant, and I don't know why I didn't think to go to Google sooner and look up, what does TLDR mean? It means too long, don't read.
Oh.
And then you just skip to the bottom.
ODR. Okay, right. Yeah.
TLDR. Too long, don't read. So if you want, you can skip the whole email, and just at the little bottom, it'll summarize it in one line or something.
Well, what was the point of the whole thing then?
Right. Well, that was my question. I was like, what is wrong with this world? Why do I work here?
Too long, don't read. I don't know who wrote it,
Why
but
did
they
I
don't want
waste
you to
all
read
my
it.
time? I don't know. It's just weird. It's weird. It's a weird world we live in.
Oh.
Life was much simpler when you said to someone, Just one moment, please. Don't you think?
Yes, more civilized.
More civilized. Yeah, exactly.
And I'm going to say the other thing too. Like, sure, it's easier to say, yeah, just a sec.
Yeah,
Sure. Yeah, okay. But I mean, when we say just one moment, please, that's taking a moment to basically be master of yourself.
Yeah.
Like, not just to, I don't know, like to be not just cultured, but more, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for?
Dignified.
Not just dignified, but you're
Refined.
taking the time to do it properly.
Properly, yeah.
Like more of a master of
Propriety.
yourself.
Yeah.
Right? Like you're just not giving into every little shortcut whim.
Right.
What pleases you. Why do I have to do all that when this is so much easier?
Right.
Like taking the hard road is, a way to heaven.
Yeah. Okay, quote, be agreeable and obliging. If you cannot locate the sister at once, tell the caller that you will try to find her and then make a sincere effort to do so. The sisters on their part should leave word where they are to be located so that they may not cause others the inconvenience of looking for them.
That just,
end quote.
I got a vision in my head when you were reading that of movies that I've seen where teenagers answered the phone, go, yeah, and they're chewing gum or something, and yeah, just a minute, and then they put the phone down.
And they leave and don't come back?
No, they don't, they just continue on with what they're doing. And then somebody comes into the room and goes, who's on
the phone?
Oh yeah, they want someone, well, you didn't go get them? Yeah, no. Like I've seen that in movies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like so rude and so inconsiderate.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just so, I don't know what we've been doing all these years, but everything is just
so
awful. Downhill.
Mm-hmm. Quote, if the sister called is not at home or not able or free to answer the telephone, state the fact courteously, express regret, and say, please may I take a message for sister. Do not ask the name of the caller when the message is for the superior. End quote. So, yeah. When is the last time you heard that? Please may I take a message?
Well, I mean, again, people would have to have a phone, and people don't even have them in their homes, right?
I know, but I'm even thinking back just to before the cell phone, when I was younger or whatever, like an early adult or whatever, and people still did have phones. And you'd call and they wouldn't, kids would answer the phone. I mean, because I was a dental assistant and I was a receptionist. So you had to do a lot of calling to make appointments and whatever. And if a kid answered the phone, they never said, can I take a message? You would have to say, is your mother home? No.
No, I know.
And then you'd be like, oh, okay. And then it leaves the person on the other end of the phone stumbling to catch their words.
Because they don't know what to do.
Well, you're the one that's supposed to say, please may I take a message.
Yeah.
They throw off the whole system.
Right, they do.
You throw off the whole system. But I mean, with the cell phone, kids aren't really answering phones anymore.
And also, too, not only that, people don't, I mean, I'm on Marketplace or whatever. People want to text. They don't want to hear your voice.
Really want to
they don't want to call. They want to text it to you.
Yeah.
They want to text you in their shorthand.
Yeah.
And you to text back. And then let's not even lock eyeballs.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't need to know you. You don't need to know me. No pleasantries here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just.
Get it done.
It's, I mean, and this, again, is part of the problem why we don't have communities anymore.
Right.
Okay,
quote, when receiving a message over the telephone, do not repeat it aloud if it is of a confidential or private nature. Refrain from mentioning telephone calls to anyone except the superior and the sister concerned. Keep yourself reminded of the fact that apart from the transaction of community matters, the rule allows the use of the telephone only for occasional family greetings. End quote. So that's more for the nuns. This is gross.
I did have a friend that would not talk on the telephone.
Yeah.
She only called for purpose, and then when the purpose was done, that was it. There was no idle chit chat, and it was like, no, we don't waste time talking on the telephone.
Yeah.
Quote,
thus obedience, charity, and courtesy require that we forego long telephone conversations with relatives and friends. Monopolizing the telephone for 15 or 20 minutes may cause great inconvenience to a sister who is waiting to send a necessary call, and a real annoyance to outsiders who are trying to connect with the convent. End quote. That's the end of the section on the telephone. I mean, that's true. But, now it's like there's call waiting.
Well, everybody has a cell
Everybody has a
phone.
cell. Yeah, but I'm saying even on your cell phone.
Even our convent doesn't have a telephone.
No, I know. It's
you get Sister direct.
yeah.
You can get her direct through an email. You can get her direct through a text. You can get her direct through a
Well, and
telephone
I'm gonna say that has contributed to the whole thing where everybody wants everything in an instant too.
Oh, I
though.
know. I mean,
People get very mad and irate when they can't get through to people right away because they know everybody has a cell phone in their pocket.
Right.
And they're like, why are you not answering? Why are you not texting? Why are you not? And people get very annoyed and upset when they can't get through to people instantly. In this world, we want everything in an instant.
Yeah, and
And we can't handle not having everything in an instant.
I don't have any solutions on how to I try to fight the system. I don't have a cell phone. But even today.
Do you not have a cell phone, Mom?
You're looking at. Oh, tell us again.
No, we're all very proud of you.
Even today, when a daughter's messaged for me to make lunch for my brother, and then my mother, and I'm not near the computer, so I don't know these things. So then my mother did you get that message? And I'm like, well, how would I get that message? I'm not here. They would have to call me.
My mom is just living her carefree little house on the prairie life, and everybody just swirls around delivering her messages for her.
If only that were true.
I am teasing. Trust me, it is a problem, and it's like, how do we, but I don't know the solution either.
I don't have a solution. Like, you can't bring things back to the way they were.
No, because it's not like, yeah.
I'm trying my very best to try to slow down the pace, trying to do things more properly.
Well, and I think we just have to understand that, this is the world we live in, but we have to live in it, but not be of it.
Yeah.
And we have to just do the best with what we have and try not to let it consume us.
I'd say if I had any advice, I do think I might get a flip phone. I keep saying that, but I haven't.
Well, that would be handy.
I haven't made the big
I will tell you, I'm just going to say it because it's very frustrating when my mom sits here and goes, I don't have a cell phone. I live perfectly fine without a cell phone. Don't. You do. But when, I'm like, I wonder where Mom is. I need her. Like, and I'm not talking for something silly. Like, I'm talking for something really important.
And also, too.
And she's out gallivanting at the auction or something. And you're like, okay, I needed to talk to you because I'm waiting for you for something. Like, I'm saying, it doesn't bother me on a normal day. But there have been times where it's like, you're waiting for somebody. And you need her, and it's like...
Plus, we live in a world...
Communication issue?
That says that you get a hold of people when you need them.
Right. So you're not
used to not being able to get a hold of somebody when you need them.
And you know what? Actually, you know what is funny about that? So back when we were kids, like teenagers or whatever, and my mom had a job.
Right.
I can remember, like, you go like, oh, I need, say, just as an off example, oh, Mom's in London, I need something, and I need her to bring it home from work. So you call up Canadian Tire or something, where my mom worked. Oh, no, she's gone for the day. She just left or whatever. Say I just missed you by a minute.
Yeah.
This is an exact example, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
And then you'd be like, oh, darn, I missed her. But you knew there was no other way to get a hold of you.
Yes.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I know.
And now it's like, I missed her, and she doesn't have a cell phone, and and you get like, because the world has told you that I should be able to get a hold of you. That's what the world has told me. So you're in your mind, you have to go, no, just because that's what the world says doesn't make it right.
No, I know.
So you have to, I hate to say the word, unlearn. And because that is a
no, I know, term, but how do you unlearn? Like,
how do you tell yourself it's not the end of the world?
I'm gonna get a flip phone. I think I am, but I do think that
by the end of this podcast, my mom's going to get a flip phone.
I do because you can't live without it. Like, you just can't. I mean, well, you can. I have
You
been.
can.
But
Been.
honestly, I mean, by living without one, I'm making life for everybody around me very difficult.
Just a tad little difficult, yeah.
You know, like, I mean, and even just to the point where you have to take all my messages.
I know. I get calls. Hello, is this Amanda? No, this is her secretary.
And your sister was over this morning, and the cat was in a little sleigh looking kind of cute, and I said, she goes, oh, the cat looks good. I said, quick, take a picture and then send it to me. Because I have to sell these cats, right?
Yeah.
I don't even have phone to take pictures, and
well, good luck taking a picture on your flip phone.
I guess that won't solve that problem, will it?
I'm just teasing.
I know, but like, it's just like you. And these are all psychological things too.
Yeah.
Like, these are the things that play with our head.
Because there was a time when we lived without all these things and we functioned completely fine.
Yeah,
we did, Mom.
I have a cousin that lives in Hamilton. Well, you won't know where Hamilton is, but it's close to Toronto. And when we're driving through, I think to my head, we used to drive down here and go to her house. I don't know how we found it.
Mom, I used to drive down to your cousin's daughter. So my mom's cousins, and then they had kids, so then we were cousins. And I, as a 17-year-old, 18-year-old, used to drive down to Hamilton with no phone, no GPS, no nothing.
Right, I know.
And I eventually found my way there.
I mean, I don't know where she lives now. I'd have no idea. And I'm sure I've been there. I mean, long, long time ago. I mean, as you get older, you separate, right?
Yeah.
But I was just like, I don't know
how did I do this?
How did we? They must have gave us I'm trying to recreate in my head
looked it up on a map before you left
went
or something.
places. Well, we didn't have a computer.
No, a map. I mean, an actual paper map. You probably just went, oh, we're going this way.
I don't even think we did that. Like, I don't recall having paper maps of Hamilton.
Well, you got there somehow.
I know, weird.
Right?
Well, somebody would have told you. You go down Barton Street and go over here and do that.
I guess, yeah.
And you would have had...
probably asked Grandpa.
You would have had... Well, they would have told... I don't know. Like, I don't know how we function.
Anyways, what we did,
now we have phones, and they tell us when to get up, when to go to bed. We don't even have to set a clock. We don't have to do anything.
Yeah, my phone tells me when I downloaded some stupid app because I'm trying to lose a little bit of weight. Anyways, not important. But it tells me when my blood sugar's low.
Really?
I said, you don't know that? How do you know well, because you're supposed to log your food. It tells you when to drink water, but it is all baloney because...
Well, you have a son that's diabetic, so
yeah, so I know it's baloney. I would have to actually be wearing a blood glucose monitor.
Yeah.
So I just buy it. There's, like, it just gives me a reminder because I feel like I don't drink enough water and then I get headaches, right? So it does remind me to drink water, but I'm just saying, like, anyways.
Well, anyway, I don't think we've solved anything here today, but we've given lots of food for thought on the many things that are wrong.
And maybe, the next time I answer the telephone, I'll think twice about how I answer it.
Well,
Make sure I have good manners.
Your own
my cell phone.
Yeah, what do you
We can apply these manners to us. Just because we have a cell phone doesn't even get a pass for having bad phone manners.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways. But, we'll leave it there. And we're only getting through this book one little chunk at a time. But that's okay.
Well, that's because we have a lot of other stuff to talk about.
We do.
And... I don't know. I find the manners, you can only take so much. Well, because I don't know. We're not in this time period, like we talk in text short forms. We, we do these things. We don't have telephones. I think it's just really, really important that we understand that even though we can't apply these very well, that we understand that we have to always be thinking about what's best for the other person.
Right. So I'm going to leave you all with this one last final thought. GBHAND.
Okay, where's my pencil?
No, sorry. Not D. W.
Just a minute. Okay, I got to write that down.
Mom, you're never going to get it.
But, okay.
It was
G.
B. H.
A.
N. W.
Oh, I guess that's not what would Jesus do.
No. It was goodbye. Have a nice week.
Okay.
Uncode that one, everybody. See, isn't not so dumb. Anyway.
All right. What's that? Okay, what was the other one from Too Long to Read?
Too long, don't read.
Too long,
we
don't read.
We should turn it to
Too long, don't listen.
We're going to put I'm going to call this podcast that.
Too long.
Too long, don't listen.
All right.
We're
done.
TLDL. Anyways, on that note, with more polite manners, I hope you all have a very blessed week.
Yes.
And I do truly mean this. May our Lord bless you and Our Lady guide you always.
And Saint Teresa, pray for us.